Hi, welcome to Fong's Fables. Let's start the story. I was 52 the year fate finally showed me a touch of mercy. A letter arrived, a will, a legacy from my late sister, who'd passed away just days before. She'd lived her life alone, childless but fiercely independent. And now, with her final breath, she'd left me everything. A sum so staggering it shimmered on the page like something unreal. 8 digits, tucked quietly into a savings account under my name. I had just slid that little passbook into my pocket, my heart both heavy and light. I thought perhaps today I'd share the news. Maybe start a conversation at my son's house. After all, hadn't I given him my entire life? Maybe now, finally, we'd catch a break together. But fate has a cruel sense of humor. Just as I raised my hand to knock on the door, I heard it. Voices. His voice. My son. And hers, my daughter-in-law's. Murmuring low at first, then rising with tension. I froze, hand midair, spine straight as a board. Is your mom going senile or what? She spat, each word sharp as a slap. This shirt, I've worn it like twice. She just went ahead and washed it. Laughter didn't follow. No correction. No defense. Just my son, the boy I'd raised with my bare hands after his father died young, nodding along. I know, he said like he were tired of me too. She doesn't get it. Everything she does annoys people. I've told her before. And then the real blow. We need to figure out a way to get her to leave on her own. Silence. For a moment, even the air seemed to stop moving. I slowly pulled my hand back, fingers trembling. The door I had wanted to knock on suddenly looked like the mouth of a cave, ready to swallow me whole. I didn't knock. I didn't say a word. I walked away, softly, soundlessly, back to my own room, my own silence. They say motherhood is the ultimate sacrifice. But no one tells you how quietly that sacrifice can be discarded. I was 24 when I gave birth to Jeremy. His father, my first love, my only love, died in a factory accident just months later. Crushed by a machine he didn't have time to fear. From then on, I was a widow and a mother. In that order. I worked every job they let me do. Factories, laundries, restaurants. I once knelt in the rain outside a warehouse gate, just for a chance to sweep the floors inside. I fed my son on steamed buns and cold flatbread while I watched other children eat meat. If I passed the butcher, I'd buy one slice, just one for him. I'd boil it, serve it proudly, and inhale the aroma like perfume. That was enough for me. That was love. And somehow, slowly, it worked. Jeremy grew tall and clever. I saved, pinched, bled for his university. When he said he wanted to marry, I sold the only house I'd ever known, our home back in the village, and gave him everything. $60,000 went into the down payment for their apartment. $20,000 I handed over as a bride price, because that's what a good mother does. No one asked where I'd go. I found a job with room and board, brought in barely $2,000 a month. Most of it, I sent back to help them. And when their baby came, they said they were too busy. So I came. I quit my job, moved in, and raised that child like he was my second chance at life. I cleaned, I cooked, I washed. I ate leftovers. Cold rice and leftovers from the day before. And I smiled, because I thought maybe someday they'd see. Maybe it mattered. But outside that door on that day I saw the truth. I was no longer needed. Worse, I was unwanted. A burden. An old dog too dumb to leave. I was still leaning against my own door when they knocked. Jean Xian's voice, cheerful and fake. Mom? You in there? I wiped my tears away with the heel of my hand. What is it? I asked flatly. Come out. We need to talk. I stepped into the living room. My daughter-in-law was already there, sitting cross-armed on the sofa, mouth twisted like she smelled something sour. She didn't waste time. Mom, why'd you wash this shirt? I barely even wore it. You said everything on the sofa was dirty, I said calmly. This was on the sofa. Don't put this on me, she snapped. Even if I said that, you should have asked. You're always messing things up. She turned, stormed toward the front door. Whatever. I'm obviously the outsider here. I'll just leave. She slammed the door so hard the frame shook. Jeremy looked at me like I had just burned the house down. Why didn't you stop her? He hissed. She's your daughter-in-law. She's an adult, I replied, barely holding myself together. I can't chase after her like a child. And besides, was this really my fault? Forget it, he snapped. She's at the entrance of our apartment complex. Just go apologize so we can move on. That was when I knew. It was a setup. A game they'd played before. She storms out. I crawl after. I beg, I bow, I bleed again. And in public, they shame me. Call me names. I take the fall, and they get to look like saints. Not this time. I turned away, went back to my room, and closed the door behind me. I sat down, breathing heavily, and took out the passbook from my pocket. 8 digits. More than I'd ever dreamed of. When my sister passed, they told me to go alone. Said they were too busy. I wept at her funeral by myself. Carried her ashes back alone. But now everything she owned was mine. And it hit me, I had options. I didn't have to beg. I didn't have to serve. They wanted me gone. Fine. I would leave. But not in shame. Not with my head down. Not this time. That evening, I packed my things into a plastic bag. Quietly, without a word. My daughter-in-law was lounging on the sofa, scrolling through her phone. She saw me and rolled her eyes, immediately calling Jeremy. Seconds later, he burst out of the bedroom. Perfect timing, Mom. Yan's here, so you don't have to go down. Just say sorry now, and we can all go back to normal. Back to normal, he said. I looked at them both, these 2 people I had poured my soul into. And I saw it. Clear as day. They didn't want peace. They wanted power. They wanted me to grovel. But I was done being small. I'm not apologizing, I said calmly. I didn't do anything wrong. His face fell. If you don't want me here, I added, I won't stay. The child's grown now. You don't need me. I turned and walked toward the door. Behind me, he stammered my name. Mom, wait. But I didn't wait. Because somewhere in this wide world, there had to be room for a woman like me. Weathered, worn, but not broken. And with 8 digits in my pocket, I finally had the keys to open that door myself. After leaving that place, I took the inheritance and bought a small villa in a premium residential area in New Coast. I never told them I owned that place, but instead was hired by some affluent multi-corporation CEO as a live-in maid. I did not keep in contact with Jeremy, but I was very active on my social media, showing off my new life there. My son definitely saw those pictures and started to find out where I was based on my location tags. You know that kind of scene where you think the reunion is going to be heartfelt, warm, maybe even redemptive? Yeah, this ain't one of those. This is the kind where years of suppressed disillusionment start bubbling to the surface, where a mother stands in the eye of a storm, no longer confused, no longer submissive, just tired. And ready. It starts when her son, yes, her grown son, bursts into the residential compound like some overacted soap opera character, yelling "Mom," like it's some scene out of a drama where love and guilt mix into one emotional mess. He rushes forward, throws his arms around her like he's just seen her after 20 years in a war zone, and with theatrical concern cries, "Mom, you found a new job? Why didn't you tell us? You have no idea how worried we've been since you left." Oh, the worry. So deep. So performative. Next to him, the daughter-in-law, previously haughty enough to command a Roman legion, now suddenly nods furiously like a bobblehead in heat. Gone is her arrogant posturing from the last encounter where she'd all but shoved her mother-in-law out the door. Now there's an oily glint in her eye, a smile that tries too hard, almost groveling. They hold her for a while, awkward, forced, and then the son releases his grip, holds her shoulders like a hostage negotiator pretending to care, and says with mock concern, "Mom, what do they have you doing here? Hopefully not anything too heavy, right? How much do you get paid a month?" Ah, there it is. The mask slips. She gets it. Instantly. Every word before this? Just sugar to coat the real pill. Just build up to the only question that matters to them. How much money she's making. And the cherry on top? When she confirms her job status. Courtesy of the other-in-law who apparently couldn't resist gossiping. They both nod like detectives who've just cornered their mark. She sighs. Yeah, the work's not hard. The employer's nice, even offered to buy her a new phone. But here's the twist. Turns out it's a 50-50 deal. Employer pays half. Other half. Deducted from her salary. She's already mentally calculating how that means she won't see real pay for a month or 2. Survival mode kicks in. She tries a tentative ask. If they could maybe lend her a little, she'll pay them back when she gets her wages. Silence. They both freeze. Eyes locked. Something unspoken passing between them like a signal in Morse code. The son removes his hand from her shoulder. "Mom, you know we're not well off. Our young daughter still needs tutoring. We were hoping, actually, maybe you could help us." The audacity is not just galling, it's breathtaking. And then comes the piece de resistance. The daughter-in-law starts eyeing her pants pocket like a hawk spotting prey. She licks her lips, metaphorically speaking, and says, "Didn't your boss just buy you a new phone? You don't even go out much, so why don't you give me the new phone, and I'll give you my old one?" It's not even 2 years old. It's enough for you, right? And then, get this, she reaches to grab it. Just full-on tries to take it like it's hers by birthright. The mother doesn't resist. She just stands there, motionless, letting the daughter-in-law fumble around like a fool. Minutes pass. Nothing in the pockets. Mom, you didn't bring it with you? Want us to go inside and help you look for it? No need, she says. I put it away. What? Where did you put it, Mom? Take it out right now. I've never used such a good phone before. And at this point, she laughs internally. A cold, bitter laugh that doesn't reach her lips. These two are relentless. For a phone for a few $100s. They'd dig through her soul if they could. She waves them off. Tells them if they've got nothing else to say, they should leave. Warns them the homeowner might come back. Starts walking inside. They try to follow. Nope. You two can't come in. If you have something to say it in the courtyard. Otherwise, get lost. Or I'll call security. Boom. Boundaries. As she ascends the stairs, she thinks, what the hell did I raise? A son who counts down the days she's unpaid. A daughter-in-law who eyes her belongings like a vulture. Not one sentence, not one, of genuine care. Just money. Always money. She's had enough. So what does she do? She takes herself out. Buys a car. Hires a driver. Visits the old market near her former neighborhood, because those shiny shopping malls aren't her thing. There, she meets an old neighbor, Jan. They chat. Jan's been living, traveling, smiling, taking photos like some Instagram auntie. She hears that her daughter's mother-in-law also went on a tour group trip, abandoning postnatal babysitting duties. It hits her. Why does she always try to be the responsible one? Why always her? She realizes she spent her life being strong, solving everything herself, afraid to bother others. Never asked for help from the other set of in-laws. Why? Pride? Fear of imposition? And what did she get for it? Nothing. Not even gratitude. She still has about 5 million left. And now she decides it's time to use it for herself. She asks her 2 maids, women in their 40s or 50s, worn down by life, if they want to travel with her. She'll pay. They're good people. Honest. Decent. They're hesitant at first, worried about leaving their children behind. But she assures them, let's just go nearby. Test the waters. Take the train. And here's the kicker. Before they leave, she posts a photo to her social media. A high-speed rail ticket. Business class. Caption. This boss is so generous, taking us on vacation. Within 30 minutes, her phone rings. Guess who? The son. He'd secretly gotten her number from the housekeeper last time. She'd let it happen. She wanted this moment. He whispers cautiously, Mom, is what you posted real? She plays dumb. Pretends surprise. Then admits, oh, the trip? Yeah, leaving tomorrow. He fumbles. Can almost hear the daughter-in-law pushing him from behind. Then, so Mom, are the tickets in your hands or your boss's? Can you maybe get 2 more for me and Yen? She pauses. Stunned. Betrayed. Again. What kind of karmic joke is this? What debt did she owe in her past life to raise such a parasitic creature? Son, you need an ID to board the train now. Even if I could get tickets, my ID wouldn't work for you as the name on the ticket need to tally with the ID. It's fine, Mom. Don't worry about it. Just fake it when they check. She opens her mouth. Shuts it. The disappointment has formed a solid lump in her chest. She's not even angry anymore. Just done. He's like a rat. Gnawing. Scheming. Watching her every move, not for love, not for care, but for crumbs he can scrape off her plate. And in that moment she knows, she's not a mother anymore. She's just a wallet with a pulse. But not for long. She's cashing out. And living her life. For once. So I sat there, gears in my brain slowly grinding to life. I thought for a moment, then I opened my mouth and said, all right, fine. Then you two come over tomorrow morning at 6. I'll give you the tickets. Thank you, Mom, my son said. And of course, right on cue, my daughter-in-law's voice chimed in as well, like some rehearsed duo at a bad talent show. Yep, just as I expected. The whole idea had been cooked up between the two of them. And honestly, it tracks. I mean, given the kind of person my garbage son would choose to marry, was it ever going to be someone with actual decency? The next morning, I had just woken up, still groggy from sleep, when my phone lit up with another call from my son. Turns out they were already at the gate of the villa community, standing outside in the early morning dew like lost puppies, waiting for the security to let them in. But no one's answering the villa's landline, my son barked. Can you let us in? Oh, sweetie. I forgot to tell you, didn't I? Oh, sorry, my son. I said sweetly, feigning just the right level of doting confusion. The boss changed the schedule last minute yesterday. We actually left around 9 p.m. I'm already at the hotel now. What? My son's voice roared through the phone. And let me tell you, even at my age, with my hearing already fading like a bad AM radio signal, his scream still made my skull buzz like I'd just headbutt a wasp nest. Are you joking right now? Why didn't you say anything earlier? We already packed everything, handed the kid off to Yan's mom to babysit, and you're telling us now that you're already gone. Oh, son, I replied, with the kind of faux innocent tone only a seasoned mother can pull off. You know how it is. I'm not young anymore. My memory's not what it used to be. Surely you're not going to hold a grudge against your own mother over this. Right? He didn't skip a beat. You have the nerve to say that? This whole vacation mood is ruined now, all because of you. If I don't hold a grudge against you, I might as well not even call you my mother anymore. Click. He hung up. I stared at my phone as it slid back to the home screen, and all I could do was laugh. Not a chuckle, mind you, but that bitter, cold, knowing laugh that only a mother scorned could master. But hey, I didn't exactly lie. I was in the hotel. I just happened to reschedule the high-speed train right after I hung up with them the day before. Why? Because I had zero desire to bump into them on the way, let alone have any other drama unravel along the trip. Fast forward to the next morning. Knock, knock, knock. The 2 housekeepers I brought along were already up. We're all the type who've worked our entire lives. Catching an extra hour of sleep is a luxury none of us can really afford. We grabbed a quick breakfast, met up with a reliable tour guide, and by just past 7, we were already out the door. By 8:30 a.m., we were staring in awe at the first scenic spot. Honestly, with no daily responsibilities weighing on me, no schedule to chase, I thought, why rush? I don't need to cram 10 places into one day and remember none of them. If it takes us a few days to see just one location thoroughly, then so be it. I'm here to enjoy, not to perform. Around noon, after a hearty local lunch, the housekeepers went off to grab some local trinkets for their kids. We walked out of the corner shop, and I ran smack into someone. I looked up, and oh, wouldn't you know it, it was my daughter-in-law's mother. The infamous in-law from hell. Well, what a coincidence, she said with a raised eyebrow, eyeing me up and down like I was some street vendor hawking fake designer bags. Jeremy. Yen. Come here. Look who I ran into. And just like that, the golden couple jogged over. My son and daughter-in-law. I blinked. You came here too? She scoffed. What, you think you're the only one allowed to vacation here? Then she crossed her arms and raised her voice for everyone on the street to hear. So this is your big boss vacation, huh? Coming out to play all fancy while you leave your own son and daughter-in-law in the dust. People who don't know better might think your boss is keeping you as a mistress. Oh, she wanted a crowd, and she got one. Passers-by were stopping, turning, whispering. But me? I've been through worse in life. Decades of real-world scars. Her loudmouth stabs barely scratched me. I didn't even answer. Just stood there. Calm. She sneered. Don't go thinking you're all high and mighty just because you've got a decent job. Everyone can afford a trip like this. I paid for this one myself. Thousands, in fact. That's more than you ever spent on your son. When you're old and no one's around to bury you, don't come crying. You made your bed. Then she called out sweetly to my little granddaughter. Come here. My granddaughter, the one I raised since she was a toddler, peeked out from the gift shop next door. She gave me a brief, shallow glance, said a quick, hi, and then ran straight into her other grandma's arms. I want this, Grandma, she whined. 5 crispy $10 bills flew out of her purse without hesitation. She skipped back into the store, laughing. She didn't even look at me again. And at that moment, something inside me snapped. Not with rage, not with tears, but with this frozen, deep, iron-cold resolve. I had once thought that because I raised her, because I gave her love, she'd always choose me. That maybe, just maybe, I'd take her on a trip this summer. Maybe show her the world. But no. Money talks. And blood just fades. I stepped forward. Oh, by the way, I said with a polite smile, I remember your salary isn't very high. You didn't spend your whole life savings just for this trip, did you? Hope you left yourself something for retirement. Her face turned white as paper. She spat back. Mind your own business. Go live off someone else's scraps, keep playing housemaid. You'll die an old servant. That's when my 2 housekeepers, bless their souls, had had enough. Ma'am, what's your problem? One snapped. How dare you speak to her like that? The other joined in. You think being a maid is something to look down on? At least we earn honest money." She rolled her eyes. Not even worth arguing with. Then she turned and called for my granddaughter again, dragging the poor kid off in a storm of faux dignity. My two nannies looked like they were ready to brawl, but I held them back. I don't get it. If it were me, I'd have slapped her so hard. I nearly burst out laughing. Me? With my old bones? I'd lose the fight. No need to rush. There are better ways to make them suffer. Just wait. That evening, back at the hotel lobby, we ran into them again. My son, his wife, and the in-law looked irritated. Apparently the hotel prices were too high, and they were begging the front desk for a discount. "Sorry," said the receptionist. "Our prices are fixed by upper management. Even our manager can't change them. If it's too much for you, you're welcome to try a different hotel." My turn. "Oh, thought you were staying here a few days? What happened? Can't afford it." They turned, scowling, eyes darting around me, probably checking if I had anyone backing me up. The in-law's voice rose. She shot back sarcastically. "Don't act smug with. Who knows where you're staying? Could be a dump for all we know." "Is that so?" I smiled, turned to the receptionist. "Can you please check my room booking?" The receptionist nodded, typed my name, and then said loudly and clearly, "Presidential suite." Silence. "You must have made a mistake," she shrieked, nearly leaping over the counter. How could she be in the presidential suite? Even my son and daughter-in-law were suddenly very, very interested in the booking screen. "No way. That's not hers. Someone else booked it, right?" "Actually," said the receptionist, glancing at me for permission, "the room was booked and paid for solely by this lady." My son's eyes bulged. "Mom, you..." He did a full 180, his voice instantly switching to the sweetest tone you've ever heard, reaching out to grab my arm. I stepped back. "No further questions," I said. "I'm going back to my room. Been a long day." Want to know the best part? They still had to scramble to find another hotel, one they could actually afford. And me, I slept like a queen that night. A few moments later, two of the housekeepers I hired, sweet girls tough as nails, just got back from a grocery run. Without paying attention to anyone else, they walked up to me and handed me back my bank card. "Here's your card. We bought some snacks, nothing fancy. We really didn't feel right spending much. The rest of the money's all still here." I smiled, nodded, turned around to leave. That's when they appeared, my son and daughter-in-law, blocking my path, eyes glued to my hand, the hand that held the card. "Mom," my son said, voice syrupy sweet but eyes sharp like a hawk spotting prey. Do you have money you've been hiding from us?" I turned toward the elevator. Didn't even break stride. "Last time, didn't you say you didn't even consider me your mother anymore? So whatever I have now, ain't got nothing to do with you. I'm not staying to fight with you. I'm heading upstairs." Behind me, one of the housekeepers shouted for security. The other kept them at bay. Honestly, if I'd been alone, who knows what they would have tried. But that wasn't the end. Not even close. That night, long after midnight, I heard a knock on my hotel room's door. Soft. Almost polite. But no one knocks politely at 2 a.m. Unless it's trouble. I jolted awake. Being a light sleeper, it comes with age, and so did the housekeepers. One peeked through the peephole. One tossed a coat over my shoulders. "It's your son," she whispered. Just like I thought. That little fox. He knew I had money now. He would never let that go. I had just enough for him to come sniffing around. I cracked the door open a bit. "What do you want at this hour?" "Ma," he said with a fake little chuckle. "Just let me in. Let's talk inside. The hallway's no place for this." "No need," I said. "Whatever you have to say, say it here." I was about to go back to sleep. His expression twisted. He didn't like being refused. "Why can't you ever listen?" he snapped, then reached to shove the door open. But my girls, my nannies, held it steady with their whole weight. Thank God he was alone. If he'd brought backup, we might have been in trouble. He glared through the crack like a wolf denied its prey, then leaned in with a pitiful look. "Mom, come on. How much do you have? Can you help us out? Just a little?" I laughed, cold and bitter. "Help with what? Last I saw you two during the day, you were buying whatever you wanted. Things seemed fine." "No," he sighed dramatically. "You don't understand. We don't have savings. Kicking you out wasn't personal. It was financial. Too many mouths to feed, you know? We had no choice." Then came the kicker. "Just give me most of what you have, all right? Leave 100 or 2 for yourself. That's more than enough. Once I make it big, I'll take care of you. Promise." A hollow promise from a hollow man. But I was wide awake now. And I was bored. So I played with him a bit. Son, I do have some savings. And maybe I should come home. His eyes lit up. Yes. Ma, whenever you want. For as long as you want. We'll treat you like a queen. Oh, I said slowly. But you see, your wife's mother, the way she talked about me, said I was old and useless, remember? I feel awkward facing Yen after that. He hesitated, then schemed. I could see the gears turning. Well, then I'll have Yen and her mom move out for a bit. Until you feel better. Absolutely not, I said. That'd make things worse. Let's not pretend, son. Let's not stir drama. He waved his hand again, like a magician preparing a trick. Wait here. I'll bring them. They'll apologize. Properly. Within minutes, the three of them showed up. Yen, her face twisted with irritation. Her mother, wearing a fake smile. My son, of course, the ringleader of this whole pathetic circus. He pushed his wife forward, practically forced her to bow. Mom, we were wrong. We'll treat you like our own mother if you come back. I raised an eyebrow. Yen, why do you look so unhappy, though? My son pinched her hard behind the back. She almost screamed. Then she waved her hand behind her, plastered on a bigger smile. No, I'm very happy. I turned to her mom. Didn't you say I was old and no one cared about me? Oh, that. She laughed nervously. Slip of the tongue. You know how I talk nonsense sometimes. Of course, I knew none of this was sincere. But it was enough. Enough to satisfy the part of me that wanted to be heard. To be seen. To be respected, if only briefly. As for the money, I said, I'll think about it. Then I slammed the door. And that's when hell broke loose. First silence. Then bang, bang, bang. The knocking returned, loud, angry. Then yelling. You said she'd hand it over after one apology. She doesn't even want to give us anything. Are you blind? This is your fault, Jeremy. If you hadn't pushed her away, she wouldn't have left. Oh, now it's my fault? You begged her to leave. Don't act all righteous. Then, fighting. I kid you not. I looked through the peephole and saw my son pin Yen against the wall, slapping her again and again. Her mother tried to stop him. He kicked her to the ground, beat both women so badly they stopped moving. Blood. Screams. The hallway turned into a war zone. My son, then calmly turned back to my door. Knocked once. Ma. I dealt with them. Now open up. Let's go home. His voice was wrong. Too calm. Like a switch had flipped. I shivered. Thankfully, the nannies had already called for security. Just as he raised his fist again, security tackled him to the ground. Police followed. The ambulance took the women away. He was arrested on the spot. I left that city that very night, took the next high-speed train out with my two nannies beside me. I got a call from the police the next day. They wanted me to come back. As his mother, I could help him with the charges. I told them clearly, I've cut all ties. He's nothing to me now. That was the first time I really felt free. Truly free. My two nannies sat beside me, clutching their bags and dreams. They'd seen it all, lived through the nightmare. And now, like me, they wanted out too. They offered to pool their savings, to keep traveling with me. We're headed to the far north next. Gonna get our passports ready. Maybe go abroad. See how foreigners live. Because who says 52 isn't the start of a woman's new life?